So your boss comes up to you and says, hey, I just bought this great piece of software. Figure out how we can work with it. If you've ever been in a position where your boss has done that to you, this section might resonate with you. If you haven't had the pleasure of that happening to you, here's what you missed. So anytime you go out and buy software, there are administrative, technical impacts to your organization, especially when it's not a planned event. So what we try to lay out here are some considerations for you as you think about integrating new software into your organization. So when you go out and buy software that doesn't meet end user requirements, either because you didn't ask or you didn't know, what that results in is user frustration. Because now I have to figure out, as the end user, I have to figure out how to change my way of doing business, my processes, my workflow to fit this piece of software. And that can be exceedingly frustrating. Just look at the difference between Windows 7 and Windows 8 and you'll understand what I'm getting at there. It's important to have a policy for software acquisition, meaning if you're going to go out and buy something, there should be guidance from your organization on what you should buy, the minimum requirements for it, like does it need a support contract, along with, it fits into the acquisition strategy as well. Who's going to maintain it? Who's going to, carry it going forward? And this acquisition policy should cover things like service level agreements. If I'm going out to a cloud provider to purchase a service, software as a service through them, there really ought to be a service level agreement there. The policy should probably dictate minimum security requirements. If I have encryption standards, authentication standards, or particular authentication systems I need to integrate within my organization, all of those should probably be spelled out as part of this policy. In addition, you also need to look at internal responsibilities. Okay, who's going to maintain this inside the organization? Where is it going to be installed? Who has the right to use this? And then continuity of support. Where do I go to get help with this? Do I have a continuing relationship with the vendor where I can go to get help? Do I have to rely on internet chat forums for this because there is no support provided for it? And then the other consideration that's not listed here, but you should consider licensing agreements. From the standpoint of using public domain or free and open source software, are you allowed to do that within your organization? And what are the restrictions on using that software, if you can use it? All of those should be covered in your software acquisition policy. From a technical perspective, you can actually introduce security gaps based on introducing new software that people aren't trained on how to use, or the administrators don't know how to configure it. Look at the trade-off between security versus convenience. If you get a new piece of equipment or software into your organization, what's the first thing that you're going to do? Get it working. Make that green light blink, make it work. And then you'll go back through and do security. And I can tell you from personal experience that there are quite a few organizations out there that got it in, got it working, and then we're on to the next big thing, and they never went back and did the security configuration on it. So what you end up with is a poorly implemented, software package that may be the greatest thing ever, but because you never went back through and did the security hardening on it, you've got misconfigurations in there or security vulnerabilities that are open that could be taken advantage of. An increased attack surface from elevated permissions. Again, this goes to the rush of implementation versus the methodical approach to implementation. How did you get this working? Well, I don't know. I just gave, the user administrative privileges and now they can run the software and I don't have to worry about it. Great. You took the quick fix and yes, the guy's up and running and he's not screaming at you anymore, but what you've done is enabled a security risk as associated with that. And how you mitigate this is really by having that software acquisition policy that says, here are the things that we're going to do with this once we actually bring it in to the organization. And prior to that, look at things like sitting down with the vendors or the developers and looking at training, look at pre-release versions, look at how you're going to actually integrate this software into your organization before you actually run out and buy it and then toss it on somebody's desk for implementation.